Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Retirement Railroad, Friday live and local. Uh, Live from, and guess what? You guessed it. All right. I got to resist. Couldn't resist. You just get used to it. And of course, I've got my co-host uh, from the great state of Tennessee. All right, John, how you doing?
Good morning, all. Other than my computer being down and I'm on my cell phone, I'm okay. My
Good,
vi-
good.
my video
The
card, my video card went bad, so we're on my cell phone.
Yeah, well, at least you got a fallback position, right?
Yeah, I'm falling down all over the
Yeah.
place. That's for sure.
The third member of the I-40 crew, and for those of you that don't realize it, John's right off of I-40, I'm right off of I-40, and the third is Jason, all right, the train freak. He can't be here today. He's down in Hot Springs working on a client's layout. So with that, let's go ahead and run through who all's here. Of course, JD, Grandpa Rails, he was, or John number one. He was number one and gets the proverbial cookie. I guess it is. Lynn, Mr. McCurdy, and the HDMMRC was second. And also joining us is younger Steve 87 PSAP, and Tammy and Ray, mom and son trained rail fans. Lee and Phil Road Layout in the Loft is here with us. And Rick Bailey, the tree, is here as well. Hi from across the pond in Holland or Netherlands or whatever you want to call it. He's here. Al Marr, hey, good morning, Al. And of course, Robert, the Flying Crow, he's joining us today. Hey, Roy Hardwick, Container Man 68 is with us. Sooner fan or a Cowboy? I am a Cyclone fan, Roy. I'm an Iowa State graduate. So, in answer to your question, neither. And I'm a longtime Dallas Cowboy fan since, growing up in the 60s and 70s. And, Roger Staubach was my hero, him and John Wayne. And I thought I would never root for the 49ers. Okay. Well, with Brock Purdy from Iowa State at the helm, I have to root for the 49ers. So it's a Cinderella story. Ranks right up there with Kurt Warner, also from an Iowa University of Northern Iowa. So very interesting. Let's see, anybody else here join us yet? Okay, I think that's it for right now. And we have an exciting show, action-packed, so to speak, including I've got some praise and a rant. I got both. We don't discriminate. We got them both. We got good and we got bad. So.
And Steve, I just want to tell everybody, I cannot see comments today since I'm on my cell phone. So I either see the live version or I have to go to comments. So if you're sending me anything, sorry, I don't see it. Hi to everybody.
If I see stuff, I'll throw it up there like that. Okay.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes, I can. Right? Yes.
All right. Good enough. So, John, what have you been up to this week?
Well, not as much as I thought I was going to do. I have sent you some pictures of my military loads, which I'd like to go over. And
And unfortunately for everybody, I deleted some of his bench work photos. So he'll save those for next week.
yeah, or I can do them live video. That's
Yeah, I noticed it's looking good back there.
Yeah. Well, I cleaned it up just a little bit, but it needs a lot more cleaning up. When you get working on stuff, you get real messy.
Now,
it's, it's like I don't have enough
after
room to store stuff, and everything's all over the place.
after last week's discussion on cork, did you run out and get some Vaseline?
Oh yeah, I got some gold cork. It's gold inlaid. I paid like
Oh, shit.
$89 for it. It's got this gold flake all over it. So hey, look, I needed cork.
Hey, JB.
I
Hey, Dwight.
found cork, so I got cork. Then of course
Huh?
after I ordered, Steve sends me these links about $49 to $89, free shipping. Yeah, thanks a lot, Steve. A little too late. Hi,
What?
JB.
I told you to go look up Horizon Hobbies on eBay.
Yeah, and when I did, it showed they had none. So then I
Oh,
went to eBay and looked, and I found this. Hey, I got cork. Oh well, it's just money.
yeah. The link I sent you was there were actually two for within a couple bucks of each other on eBay.
Yeah.
They weren't $89. I think they're both under
Yeah.
50.
Well, I think I've got enough cork now to finish what I'm doing in this small layout room. So I think I'll be okay for a while. Yeah, well.
All right.
And I did go to
Uh,
my local hobby shop, and I bought 4 more turnouts.
for
Um,
your benefit, John
for
Bennicky has joined us along with Dwight Curley.
and 4 turnouts. What else did I get? I got some of that. The stuff you can paint on to windows to protect them from being getting paint on. I can't remember what it's called. Micro
Crystal Clear?
mask. It's like a
Oh,
masking material that you can paint on and then take
you're a
off
big
after you
flop.
finish. Yeah,
Oh.
it's from. Gee, where is it
Hey,
at?
Andy. Hot Dog Pilot Andy has joined us. Excuse
Here
me.
It's called Micro Mask.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's from the same people that make Microsol, Microcure. You know, so I've got one engine I need to paint that I have not been able to get the glass out of yet. I don't want to break it, so well, Yumberlard
Roy,
might. Yeah, I see that.
there's
Yeah.
you can buy bulk cork. It's a roof. They use it in roofing. A big roll of that stuff. And that's probably what I'll do when I get to building the shed in a couple of years. All right, I'll go that route, but not for this. I just got a case.
Yeah, and they also sell cork and roll for like flooring. So
Okay, all right.
yeah, and you can always, if you have a bandsaw, you can always keep the roll whole and cut through with a bandsaw to cut out your cork road beds. The only problem is you don't have the bevel on the side, and unless you cut little thin strips, you got a wide strip that's a little harder to go through.
I
Turn.
could, in theory, I could use my table saw and just crank the bevel down to 45 and run it through the table saw. Probably want a real fine tube.
Yes. Yeah, I think a bandsaw would work better.
Bandsaw would be better, or yeah, because bandsaws the blade may not bevel but
The
you should
table
be
does.
able to tilt the table plate. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, you can. It'd probably just be a little hard to have a full roll and try to push it
That's
through there. But
you cut the strips and then do the bevels.
yeah,
So
it may work. But anyway,
that's why it's easier just to buy the case from Midwest.
Yeah, and I've seen people use the full pieces like Chadwick Charlie. He used a wider strip in his yards. Don't do the individual tracks in the yard. Do a full section, and then it can make it look more like it's down on the ground and not an elevated roadbed.
Yeah, and you can always come through and do some beveling between the tracks after it's laid.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
get
all that works.
A little ditch between the tracks. So,
yeah, that's true.
I can guarantee if I tried to do a bandsaw on cork, I'd probably be missing a finger.
Yeah, it's you got to be safe. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, John, you've been working on a project.
Yes.
And let me bring it up here.
Tell us
a little bit about what's going on here.
Well, a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I showed the new 3D printed M48 tanks that I received. They're not perfect. Some of the road wheels have some flat spots on them. The return roller road wheel has a big flat spot on it, but it's going to be a load. So I started out with
nobody in the world but you is gonna notice it.
Probably not. Yeah, that is true. I've looked at a lot of people's rail loads on for military, and there's a few things that they're missing. And I know it's your railroad. You do what you want. But just try to enlighten people a little bit more on military train loads. For one, camouflage. If you're going to camouflage your vehicles, which most modern, and this is Korean after, had camouflage on them. The camouflage is developed and a schematic is sent out to the troops that paint their own tanks. So if you'll notice on mine, I think, Steve, the next picture may be a little bit closer up, I believe. Yeah. There I'm doing the turrets. Now, if you look at the turrets, and you'll see a light tan patch on the left-hand side of the turret as it's pictured. Each turret has a patch of tan in that area. It may not be the exact same shape, but it's in the same area. And because the individual tank crews paint theirs. I know when I painted my tank in Germany, there was supposed to be a black splotch right in the center of the front slope. Well, I made it the shape of Florida instead of the shape that it was supposed to be. But so every tank should be relatively the same in the camouflage pattern. What I like to do after I get them completely camouflaged is I'll do a black wash all over the entire tank. And it helps to blend the colors in. Some it may obscure some of these on the back of the tank are a little bit heavier, just because we spilled oil all the time on the tank. A tank engine takes 17 gallons of oil for the engine, and it takes 17 gallons of oil for the transmission. So When you're dealing with big jugs, you're going to spill something. Also, when you spill diesel, probably can't see it, but the two diesel fill spots are right on the left and right of the turret ring there in the back, down in a little recess. And that area always gets real nasty. Go ahead to the next one, Steve. Here's a semi-painted finished project. And when you're doing your tanks, you always need to make sure the turrets are matching up with the correct pattern, because as these patterns slightly change, there's the transition from the turret to the hull, and you want to make sure you don't mess up your turrets in different patterns. I can't.
Hi, Joe.
It's a little small
Joe.
for me to see my cell phone, but I can't. I think this is after I put the black wash on them.
It looks like it.
Yeah. Go to the next one. There's a better picture of the back deck. And I wanted to note in this picture, if you look at the center of the back deck, you'll see a little tripod looking item that's laying down flat. That is
I got my cursor circling it.
Okay. That is the piece that's the travel lock. When a tank is being transported or in the staging yards where we would tank park, where we'd put our tanks, we always put them in travel lock. And that just holds the turret and the gun barrel in that position. If you're going to put it on,
they also call those the gun carriage?
No, it's the travel lock. A gun carriage is a World War II term for, I think some of those tanks had internal gun tube locks. Like Shermans, the earlier Shermans didn't have any. When you got to the M4 A3 E8s, they actually had something like this, but it was on the front slope and not on the back.
Right.
And as the tanks got bigger and the gun tubes got longer, they weren't able to leave them out on the front and put them on a rail car. And keep in mind, when you're putting vehicles on a rail car or a flatbed car, make sure you look at the weight. I've seen guys that are selling their tank loads on eBay for 70, 80 bucks, and they'll have two M1 tanks on it. Well, an M1 tank weighs about 63 tons, and they're putting them on a 40 or 70 ton flat car. So yes, they're overloading the flat car. One of these M48s weighs, I think it's 56 tons. So on a 70-ton flat car, you're only going to get one tank. And we rail headed to Grafenwehr, our main gunnery range, twice a year. And, we always put them on rail cars. There was always only one tank per rail car. The way they tie them down is by cables and not chain. I'm working on a way to better connect my cables to the tanks, and I'm thinking about using small Carter pins to be able to make. What we had on the tank is we had a connection, which none of them have on there, none of the products I've seen. And you were able to attach a cable to it with a bolt that went through the eyelet. So I'm going to try to create something like that with very small Carter pins. And then for the cable, I'm thinking about using a very fine fishing line, and then some very small tubing that I can glue. I can fold over the line into a loop. Yes, fold it over into a loop, and then put one of these collars up over it, and it'll look like it's a proper connection.
John,
And
just try something like this.
what size
This
is
is
that?
32 gauge, which is 0.33 mil. You're not going to find anything much smaller than this.
Well, I was thinking of a fishing line, maybe smaller than that.
This is way smaller than fishing line.
Okay. So you got 32 gauge there?
Can you see that wire?
No, I see this
right here.
Yeah, no, not on my cell phone. I can't see it. So okay, 32 gauge. I'll look into that, Steve. Where did you get that?
Shit, if I know. I don't know. Jewelry wires, kind of the same thing.
Okay, so maybe like Hobby Lobby or
maybe Hobby Lobby, maybe the hardware store. Ace Hardware.
Yeah. But
that's where I got this one.
Yeah. Also, when you do put the cables on, they actually cross. They go from the right side of the tank to the left side of the flat car. They don't go straight out. They always crisscrossed, and there would be two in the front and two in the rear.
Yeah, it gives better support that way.
Yes, and for the tanks to be scale, and I checked these, you have about a foot of overlap on the side, so it is wider than the flat car. Here is a picture that shows the position that it should be in for travel lock. Turret facing to the rear, center of the deck, and I've thought about maybe trying to make the travel lock so I can actually put the gun tube in travel lock, but the way they have these molded, the gun tube wouldn't be up high enough. So I can't change the position of the gun tube. So I'm just going to leave them like this.
If you had Shermans or a variant thereof, they'd be facing forward.
Correct. Actually, not correct. Not straight forward. They're actually off to the right-hand side some, more towards the fender. And I've got a picture of, I think it's one of my last ones.
Not the rear.
Yes, in the front, correct. You are correct. Now, some of your longer barrel, like your M36s that had 90 millimeter guns, they'd still be facing to the rear.
Here is it? Okay. Thought you were breaking in and out, or it could have been my headphones. I'm not sure. Hey, James.
It could have been me.
Okay.
And here's one that it's not complete. Black car isn't put together yet, and I don't have any of the cables on it. But that's what it's going to look like on the flat car. Now, a thing I can point out.
How much does an M48 weigh?
It weighs around 56 tons.
All right, so that's above the capacity of this flat car.
No, that's a 70-ton flat car.
So its capacity 100,000. Divide that by 2 for tons.
Let me go to that flat car because I thought I read differently on it.
A load limit is 112,900, but that's still 60 ton.
Well, I may have been incorrect on the weight of that tank, but I'll have to look that up. And I'm pretty sure I looked it up and it met the requirements. It's still a big tank.
To me, I don't care. I'd put it on there and wouldn't mind, but you're more prototypical minded than I am.
Yeah, and the other things like in this picture here, The road wheels actually have a rubber solid tire around the road wheels. So I do have them painted black. And you'll notice that inside where the road wheels run are also rubber. It's a rubber that's sealed to the metal track. Another thing I've done here is every time we get ready to load onto a flat car, we had to completely clean the tank. Now, the steel on the tank tracks is it rusts, of course. When you're running, the track will actually become very shiny on the outside. It's like running through over sandpaper. It takes off all the rust. Then you get back to your base, you clean it off. It will rust and turn a light reddish or orangish rust, and then as it sets there, it turns to a dark rust. So you have to think about what are you doing it with at that particular time. So since this one has just been loaded on the flat car, the track is going to have light orange rust on it where the track is metal. Also on the outside or the bottom of the track that's sitting on the flat car there, we have track pads that are rubber that are bolted into the metal track. I don't think I had an in shot of the track, but you'll see that the track is showing black and the metal in between the individual track pads are an orange. So, it's showing that it was clean before it went on there. Now, this is an M47 tank, which is another one of the ones I have on the railroads, which I've got the cables on this one. I weathered the deck. You'll notice that this turret does not go straight to the back. They actually had these where they would railroad them with the turret turn at an angle to the back fender because it actually pulls the gun tube in closer to the back of the tank. And that's the way that tank would be railroaded. So in my military load, I'll have these M47s, which I have about 10 of them, I think, maybe 12. And then I've got 5 the M48s. So this would be depicting the early to mid 50s. The M48s would have been new then. The M47s would have been one of the older tanks. And don't always take the M47 and 48 as the year it was made. They went in an order of magnitude as they developed them. It is, though, around that age because, like an M4 Sherman was not made in 1904. But after that, they started thinking a little bit more about it. The M60 series started in the 60s. The M48s were late 40s to mid 50s when they started them. So
the 46s were actually in 1945.
Right. As I said, right. They were close. But like the M26 tanks were not made in 1926. They were after World War II, or very, very late World War II. So, but that's basically what I wanted to go over. And I enjoy military loads.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's see, you got another one?
Okay. Now this is depicting that the tube that's coming out, that's running from around the driver's hatch to the side of the tank, that is the exhaust for the heater system. Now, we would paint these when we were doing the painting of the tank, but as soon as you started running the heater, which was a diesel heater that would be down in the driver's compartment, the thing would burn off the paint, and it's you shut it off, and then it'd start to rust. So I've got that highlighted on this tank. Most people wouldn't even know what that is, but that's the exhaust for the heater.
All right. Cool. Cool. Well, that's the last picture I have, John.
Okay, very good. I think I've bored people enough with that, but
that's pretty cool.
they're interesting to do. And as I've said before, I was a former tanker in the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment and the 3rd of the 10th Cav, 1st Cav Division. So I like tanks.
John spent some time at Fort Hood, Texas. I can guarantee.
Yes. Fort Hood, Texas for almost 2 years. And then I was in Bad Kissingen, West Germany, back before the Iron Curtain fell. And my unit was one of the border guards.
All right. That's cool. Let me get me back in here now.
Yeah. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that.
Yeah. There we go. All right. I've had an exciting week. When you move, you throw a lot of stuff away, or you can't find stuff. You got it, but you can't find it.
Yeah.
So this last week, I was spent going through some more boxes and unpacking stuff. I finally found my AccuTrack and my box of Digitrax stuff, all the manuals and so forth, which I really, really needed the one for the PM42 because I'm going to have to do some programming on it.
Yeah.
And I forgot what the settings are. Oh, and John, speaking of the PM42, you know how I always said it was AR1 that I needed to make that reversing work right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it didn't have pause? And I was right, of course, but I still would have an intermittent problem. I figured out what the problem was. And on the original PM42, the jumper was set for reversing.
Oh.
When it didn't have to reverse. And it created a conflict occasionally. If the reversing on the booster went one way, all right, then the unknown reversing on the other would start to conflict with it. So anyway, I figured that out once I looked at it and said, huh. Because when I installed the original PM42, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So anyway.
Well, they're complicated. It's not easy for everybody to install.
Yeah, so I bought a whole bunch of supply stuff over the last week or so, and I got a 3-pack of 10-foot iPhone cables, and the reason being my wife needed a longer one, and I needed a longer one so that I can hook my iPhone and use it on the tripod. Okay, and not connected for the camera purposes, but to keep it charged when I'm doing mobile videos. And on the tripod, I haven't got them yet, but I want to get some casters so I can just roll it. And if I switch to, I'd have to change. Oh, I don't even know where that camera's at. Hang on. Oh, there it is right there. Then I switch to this one. And I run it around. Maybe. There it goes. You can't see it yet, but you will. All right. Oh, too far. It's a tilt, a pan one. So if I can get rid of that, I can go that, and I can go there. Okay. So anyway, the tripod here, all right, get some casters on it, and I'll be able to roll it so it's not a shaky cam. All right. So once all the junk's away from here, but that's the idea.
As long as your floor is nice and smooth.
Yeah. Well, it's concrete, so it better be.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the purpose of the iPhone cable. All right. Then, you can never have enough of the LocoNet cables.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought some wire, and it's basically flat telephone wire, but you got to make sure you get the 6 conductor, not the 4. If you do it. So I bought that and some plugs, and then lo and behold, today I was out going through a tote, and in the tote was a box, and the box was full of, you guessed it, the plugs.
Yeah.
All right. So, I got plenty of plugs, telephone plugs, if anybody needs any. And I already have the tool. In fact, I had 2 of these. When my son was here at Christmas, I gave him the other one. So
couldn't
anyway,
send it to your crane buddy, huh?
He needed it.
Oh, okay. Now,
anyway, and John can attest. I made some LocoNet cables for John one time.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's easy. All you need. My Digitrax Evolution starter set came with a LocoNet tester, a cable tester.
Correct. Yes.
And all you do is you plug it into your LocoNet, and this is what it comes with. And you plug it into your LocoNet, and then you plug it into this, and then it's got some lights on it to tell you if it's good or not. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be making up some LocoNet cable. I've already made one LocoNet cable, and you can that way. I've got a lot of LocoNet cables, but wire management is an issue for me. This will help me custom length it so I don't have all this excess stuff all over the place, at least in theory. One of the things, there's 2 sidings on the front side of the layout, and if I switch my camera back again over to this one, all right, on the front side, there's one over here and one over there. That one's an REA freight express mail siding. This one will be for Pepperidge Farm, and one or the other of those will double as a programming track. Okay, and I got a double throw. I got a pack of 5 or so of these double throw, double pole switches. And I'll put on the fascia right here, so I can switch from track to programming.
Yeah, that's good.
I got those. I'll put that up there. I needed some soldering supplies. I saw Jason and other people. They use liquid resin, whatever you want to call it. Flux.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I got a 2-pack, probably more than I'll ever need of those. And then I got some soldering paste. I've never used paste. I've always used the solid wire type stuff. So I got some soldering paste. I'll try it out. See if it's any good. Okay. And it, yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I go through a lot of shrink tubing. If you're installing decoders and so forth, that kind of stuff. So Hey, Bernard has joined us.
Hi, Bernard.
Stop. And anyway, so I needed more shrink tubing. So I ordered a pack of shrink tubing in 2 different sizes. Um, sometimes I don't fully read the description. I just saw the size I wanted. I didn't look at the length.
Oh, my word. I don't think you'll ever run out, Steve.
I got plenty
my.
of.
How many miles of shrink tubing is that?
55 feet each. No, oh my God, no. The 16th inch is 164 feet. The 3/32 is 55 feet.
Oh my word!
I still need to order some 3/64. Yeah.
How many feet's that going to be?
I don't know.
I thought I had
probably
too
will
much
order.
tubing.
I will probably order from the same people on the same side, that size roll, however many feet it is, just to maintain consistency.
I've got a drawer in my metal rolling racks over here that's full of shrink wrap tubing. I don't think all that would even equal one of your rolls.
Yeah.
And I think I have plenty.
What can I say? I'll be the shrink wrap king.
Yeah, what I like to do, I go to Harbor Freight and buy their small multi-packs.
And I had some of those, but they didn't have the small little ones. The small,
they have a couple different packs, and I think there's one pack that has the smaller one because I think I got it from them for DCC drinking.
The next thing I got was a pack of 5-pin wiring harnesses. And the reason behind that is I need 4 of them. And this is a 5-pack. You've got 4 power districts coming off the PM42. And I'll get into this in more detail in a tip of the day as I'm building the control shelf that goes up here.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 4 power districts that will feed 16 in 4 wire segments off the BDL 168.
Okay.
So for each of the 4, all right, you need one of these plus the other rail, because only one rail goes through the BDL.
Okay.
To detect if there's power flowing, and that block is for block detection. Yeah, I do. And that's how it'll detect power, and it only needs to do it on one rail. But that shelf, I want it where I can slide that shelf out. Well, to do that, you can't hardwire. You got to have some kind of plug, all right, or plug. So that's what these are.
Okay.
Now, along those same lines, all right, you've got some other wiring that needs 2 pair. For instance, off of one of the power districts of the PM42 will be for the switching bus, separate bus line for the switching. And so that only needs a 2-pin.
Right.
So I bought a pack of what was supposed to be. Here's the description right there. And I'll switch cameras over to this one. All right. That's the description. All right. 2-pin way waterproof electrical connector wire harness, 16 gauge marine for car, blah, 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 blah. It's a 10-pack. Okay.
Yeah.
And as you look at this picture, all right,
Mm-hmm.
wires attached to it.
Yes, it does.
This is not wiring harnesses. These are plugs and the little little pins that have to go inside the plugs on little watertight thing. So my rant is I sent a nasty gram to both Amazon and the Amazon seller.
Uh-huh.
All right, and requested a refund because it is not as described. These are plugs. They're not a wiring harness.
Right.
Piss me off. All right, that's my rant of the day. I'm using Digitrax, Bernard. No, it's not really LCC. All right, it's just kind of me doing my thing the way I know how to do it. I look at LCC and I'm looking at all these electronic boards you got to buy. And, when I get to the big layout in a couple years, when I understand LCC a little bit better, I'll consider it. This is just a 16-inch by 12-foot long layout. I don't need to invest in that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was upset about this. Could you tell? So as soon as this stream's over, one of the ways of returning Amazon product is taking it to a Staples. All right, you request you get on the Amazon site and you request a refund on that item. It gives you a QR code. You take that to the Staples customer service and you have them scan the QR code and they take the product and send it back. So anyway, that's one. There's other. You can go to Kohl's, Staples. You can go to UPS store, but then you got to pay for the packaging and the box and all that kind of crap. I'm going, hell no, this thing only costs $10. I'm not paying $15 to return it. Yeah. Anyway, so that was my rant. Now, as I said before, there's good and there's bad. Okay. Now for the good. Now I've been waiting. I've had an item back ordered at Iron Planet Hobbies, and that's the BDL 168 for about 2-3 weeks, something like that. And I got a notification yesterday that it's in. All right. So I not only ordered one, I ordered two. Because John and I were talking earlier about a separate speed matching layout. All right. Circle. And I'll get into that in a tip of the day thing. It's really cool. But I'll need another BDL for it. 168. So I ordered those two. And for that other circle speed matching layout, I also need a PR4 for one of those. So those 3 items. Now, if you take the manufacturer suggested price on each of those 3 items, the BDL 168 is $154. Multiply that by 2. PR4 is $94. Then you'd pay, if I went to the local hobby shop, buy this.
Oh, thank you.
Pay another 9% tax, and although there's no shipping, you still have to drive over there and get it and so forth. Okay. The total, if I went to the hobby shop and bought these, all right, is $391.68. Okay. But by going to Iron Planet Hobbies, their normal price is $114 and change. Okay. $114 and change compared to $154. Then, if you use the Heath's Humanity Junction discount code of human, all right, it knocks another 10% off. So you take the 228 now for the 2 BDL 168s, and 67.92 for the PR4. Heath's discount is $29.64 off of that. There is no tax and it's free shipping. Landed cost of my front door is $266.74, or a 30% plus savings. All right. Because Iron Planet Hobbies has a lower price than manufacturers suggest retail, plus Heath's discount, plus no tax. I mean, you can't beat it with a stick. Hey, Ray Ron.
How are they getting away with not charging tax when everybody else has to?
Yeah, I don't know. They don't do business in Oklahoma. They're shipping out of state, and they don't have brick and mortar in that state. That's the old rules. Now, I don't know how they are.
Yeah,
that's not up to me. I'm just telling you the way landed cost to me.
Yeah, I think that's kind of changed. I've seen tax added just for.
Well, you buy something from Amazon, you're going to pay tax because they have physical locations within the state.
Well, right, so but I buy a lot from eBay that doesn't have a physical location in Tennessee, but it seems like they're all wanting tax now.
Okay. Yeah. Are they having to pay tax on it?
Well, that I don't know. They may just be collecting it.
Easier, yeah, maybe just charge tax to everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Doesn't bother me. So.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good question, Bernard. I have not seen John today. And another scam likely phone call. So anyway, that's the good rant. I mean, that's a substantial. That's $130 savings.
Yeah.
$266.74 versus $391.68. So.
Yeah, I guess I need to shop there more.
It's my car warranty, Bernard. It's about due to expire.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still getting them with you.
This is a 2014 and the other one's a 2012. So yeah, they're about ready to expire.
Well, I get them on my 2023 Dodge pickup. You know, I'm already starting to get them. Yeah. I've got a couple letters in the mail. Your warranty is about to expire. No, it has a 1,000,000-mile warranty on the powertrain and engine.
They just say that. They don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's all scam.
And they don't say what car. You know, they'll call and say, hey, your warranty's about ready to expire in your vehicle. And if you ask them, well, which vehicle? They don't know.
Well, sometimes I answer the phone and mess with them. And they ask me what kind of car I have, and I tell them I have my 1986 Suzuki Samurai. Well, how many miles do you have on that? I said, well, the speedometer or the odometer only goes up to 99,000. And I know it's turned over at least twice, so I may have 300,000 on it. Oh, click.
I had fun with it this week. I had a text come in asking about how much I'd take for the property located such and such address in Clarksville, Tennessee. I wrote back to the guy, typed back to the guy. I said, well, how much you want to give me? The guy, well, it depends on the condition and so forth. And but we could set something up to go look at it. I said, go look at it anytime you want. And they said, well, we need an appointment, so make sure you're going to be there. I said, well, I'm not going to be there. I don't Oh, I don't own that property. I've never owned that property. But I'll take your money if you want to give it to me.
Yeah. Well, I still get those calls for my property in Florida. I haven't been there in 2 years. You know, yeah, I'll sell it again. Yeah, send me the money.
Absolutely, there, Randall. Absolutely. Yeah, but you'd think, oh, I'll save money because I'll go pick it up at Iron Planet. Well, with these discounts, it's free shipping, so you don't even have to do that. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get on there, and as soon as I get my main computer back up, so I can look at things better. They're real small on here. And those
how much for 68 Chevy warranty? Yeah. Does it cover rust, corrosion?
Yeah, I had an extended warranty on my Jeep that I bought when I bought the vehicle, which I usually never do, but it wasn't much. Well, it didn't cover anything that went wrong with it. Heck, the manufacturer's warranty, even though they had a recall for my clutch that I had already replaced once and was getting ready to replace the second time, they wouldn't pay me for the first one because, before the recall went out and the requirements for the recall, I had to have it replaced. So, of course, I didn't follow their way of doing it. I had it evaluated at one shop, a Jeep shop in Florida, but then I had it replaced in Tennessee because I didn't have the money to replace it at the time in Florida, and they wouldn't pay me back for it because it wasn't on the same receipt as the diagnosis.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, you should know the requirements before you know the requirements.
Yeah.
I had it. It's just not the way they wanted it. I asked them to please send me your list of requirements in writing. Never got it. Please have a supervisor call me. Never got a call back. And I reported them to the Better Business Bureau and put a lot of nasty things on their website. But then I go and buy a Dodge.
Next week, yeah, I like Dodge.
Yeah.
I had a Dodge Ram pickup in '99, I think it was. In '97, I don't know. It was a great truck. It'd go anywhere. My brother, we'd go out to the hunting lease in West Texas, and my brother had his Jeep, and I had my two-wheel drive Ram. And my brother would go back into places just to try to get me stuck. And hell, I went anywhere he went with that Jeep. So
yeah.
Anyway, next week, if everything arrives that's supposed to arrive, we may plug in the control, the shelf. I may get it set and get it plugged in, although I don't have any track yet to plug to wire it up to. But first thing is get that done. So I got all the holes drilled in the supports underneath to run wiring. So we're getting there.
Good. Yeah, I one thing I didn't mention when I went to the hobby shop, I got some more flex track because I'm not sure how much I have. It's in different places in my train room, so I can always use it. But
I've got so many videos that I'm working on. Of course, I'm working on the backdrop video. It's all shot. I just got to edit it. I got that one. I got the one for the control shelf, all the electronics to do, the speed matching one that I talked about. I got that one to do. There was one more. And I can't, for the life of me, remember what it was. But anyway, here nor there. We'll figure it out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So anyway, it's we're right at 1 hour. So I want to, yes, Lee, send me the link. I wasn't going to be free Sunday. We're supposed to do a 5K with the dog, but the weather forecast is snow, so they postponed it till May. So I should be available to be on your stream, Lee, on Sunday. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining John and I here on Friday Live and Mail Call, and I would play the music again for Oklahoma and Tennessee, but we'll pass. Anyway, y'all have a great weekend. Bye now.
Take care all. Bye-bye.